Hello, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, and welcome to a different video again. I'm talking about a whole another conundrum that is at West Ham that I want to talk about in detail, and I want people to hear me out on this opinion. But before we get into the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers now. As I said for the past few videos, thank you again for 500. Cannot thank you enough. Um, but yeah, we're trying to hit 1,000 as soon as possible. And yeah, it's coming up to the days where the transfer activity isn't going to be as active because of what we've already done in the window. And once the transfer window ends, it's very hard for us content creators to keep up the levels that we have kept up due to the fact of there's going to be a lack of news past September time. So stick with us, and we'll continue to talk about this club and other football clubs together. Um, Obviously, I am quite annoyed all the time when it comes to this club. Natural pessimist. If you guys, if the few of you that were subscribed like 12 months ago, um, not even that, like 9 months ago, I would say specifically when West Ham lost to Brentford 3-2. Now, the reason why I'm specifying that game is because I think it was around that time where I was really getting frustrated with David Moyes and West Ham. And I was discussing a few things, discussing whether if Tim Steiner is really in charge, then Moyes will go, which I was right about. But another thing I discussed around that October time or whenever it was about Paqueta, Kudus, and Bowen. Now, even originally when we signed Mohamed Kudus, I had these questions in mind on where he would play. I assumed he would just play off the left. And when they all played together, obviously Mohamed Kudus really got integrated after the Aston Villa and Newcastle game where we drew 2-2 to Newcastle. We lost 4-1 to Aston Villa. And Kudus came on against Newcastle and scored. And he couldn't really, he kind of gave Moyes things to think about and where to play him. So what did Moyes do? He put Bowen up front, he put Kudus on the right and Paqueta on the left for whatever reason. And sometimes it would be fluid, but it was still a rigid type of fluid. Not actual fluid, you know what I mean? Well, they would switch around at times, and sometimes you would see Paqueta in a false nine, Kudus in a 10, Bowen on the right, and we'd have to sacrifice our whole left hand side by putting Ward-Prowse there. Some putting someone out of position again just to try and get them three closer together. And yes, it did. So part of it did benefit in Paqueta and Bowen continuing their partnership and Kudus shining in moments, etc. But those three were performing, and Emerson was performing, but it was still a bit of a hindrance to an extent. And my question is can these three actually play together? Now it sounds mad, doesn't it? But under that, the previous manager we had, we were never going to see the front-footed attacking mindset to really play these guys in all their positions to get best out all three of them in the 4-2-3-1. He was never going to play Paqueta next to Alvarez and Kudus in front of Bowen on the right, and to really link them up. We have three very talented footballers on our hands. I'd say probably Paqueta is the guy who's going to keep it ticking throughout. It was a couple of sloppy passes against Aston Villa, but overall he was really good. Mohamed Kudus was playing out of position. I didn't like it, and his final ball was a bit wayward, but he was still probably one of the best players. Like him and Kilman were probably the two best players against Aston Villa. We discussed that before on one of the streams when we were doing the player ratings, and we didn't play on the right hand side, so we didn't really see much of Jared Bowen throughout that side. Now, there's multiple combinations that we've all debated before online of how we can play these three together. Now, I know a couple of people have even got hate from even putting the lineup of Paqueta next to Alvarez, Kudus in front of Bowen on the right, which is what I've maintained that it's probably been my main combination. And the reason why I say that is because in certain games, like we probably can't play it all the time, but against, like, let's say Carlos Soler doesn't get signed, the best player to play next to Alvarez is going to be Paqueta on our side. It's definitely not number 28, and it's definitely probably not Ward-Prowse either, as he's going to have to, off the ball, he's probably going to be outdone physically. Like, for example, as much as I would prefer to play Ward-Prowse instead of Souček, he would have struggled against, even though they were playing different sides of the midfield, and Amadou Onana coming up against him, for example. That's a complete mismatch in terms of physicality and height. If we're looking at in general within the side, Paqueta next to Alvarez will probably be the best solution if we don't get the Carlos Soler loads of obligation to buy through the door. Mohamed Kudus is a number 10 and a right winger. He's both. He played in a number 10 quite a lot before this career, and he's played on the right wing mainly in his career. Now, playing on the left just allows him to be direct. It doesn't, like, as much as Mohamed Kudus can use his right foot, he doesn't use it very often. So when you kind of cut off the lane, if you can cut him off from him trying to be direct to get the delivery in the box, then it's going to become very one-dimensional, and the whole attack is probably going to get very slow. He can use his right foot, but sometimes he just doesn't want to use it. Now, his crossing game can be very good, and at times it could just be very wayward. It's very inconsistent in terms of that part of his final game and in terms of his final third play. Everything else in his final third play is brilliant. He can strike a ball very well from pretty much all angles of the pitch and all angles in the attack. Um, I think mainly as well, down every side. I saw this in the Betway Cup, and I saw this against Aston Villa. Matty Cash and the Celta Vigo fullback or wingback were struggling to contain Mohamed Kudus going around the outside. Even though you know he's going on his left foot, he's too powerful, fast, and skillful for you to get the ball off him. So that is going to be a positive in his game, regardless of what side he's playing on anyway. But I want to say what I'm against. I'm against Kudus on the left because I feel like you could get way more out of him, and he's too talented for you to be sacrificing certain parts of his game and playing him out of position. I'm against Paqueta on the left, unless the situation was Emerson was really hugging the touchline, and we pretty much didn't play with a left winger. We played with two number 10s. Essentially, in this scenario, we'd have a three at the back of Wan-Bissaka, Tadibo, and Kilman. You have the two in front in possession of, let's say it's Rodriguez and Alvarez. I'd say in our best starting 11 so far of the players that we have, it'll be them two just in front. And then you have Bowen and Emerson hugging the touchlines of the other two. So it's a 3-2-4-1 formation, and Paqueta and Kudus are the two number 10s playing right behind a striker. Then, yeah, if he's strictly playing like that, then that's fine. But I don't think Lopetegui wants to play Paqueta on the left. A situation actually happened in the game. I can't remember whether it was a Villa or the Betway Cup game where they swapped over for like a minute or so. And Lopetegui was going mad like this. I think he was saying, just switch quick, and they switched quick. I think this is when they had a goal kick and we needed to press them from the front. Now, if them two are playing like that and it was tactically done like that, then yeah, that would be fine. But we saw that would be a bigger solution. So what was happening last year, where when Paqueta was playing off the left, what pissed me off was the fact that he at times was hugging the touchline, and Emerson was told to run on the inside. Emerson is great at running on the inside, but why would you tell Paqueta, the most creative player in the team, to hug the touchline, where he can only get a certain angle of the pitch and certain type of runs where he can feed people with? Then he'll just try some bozo thing and try and switch the ball for no reason where it doesn't work. The problem is he's still too erratic, Paqueta, and we'll come on to that another time. I'll say that there's times where he took the ball too quickly. We were doing quick free kicks too much. He just gave away the ball instantly. And we won't see that as much in the system compared to the David Moyes system, where there wasn't really much anything there. When in the attack was pretty much you got to play in these positions and you got to figure out something from there. In this attack, it's a bit more front-footed and creative, even though it's not the most front-footed and creative system I've seen, but. Whatever, maybe I'm asking for too much, but we can't have Paqueta hugging the touchline and Emerson running on the inside. I don't ever want to see that ever again. And you don't play your most creative player on the wings, etc. And another combination I don't like with these three players is Jared Bowen up front. Now, the reason why I don't want Jared Bowen up front and then Somerville, Paqueta, Kudus is because naturally Jared Bowen is going to drift off the right anyway. And even at times where Jared Bowen was playing off the right, Bowen and Kudus were getting in the way. Now, this is where you see the difference between people that watch West Ham and people that just look at West Ham and say, oh, Bowen's played up front, he's scoring goals, etc. Most of the goals that Bowen scored were still coming off the right channel. They were still coming off the right channel, on the inside right channel. I've said this multiple times in videos before. That's why I don't believe Bowen is a 9. And if you're going to play anyone in the centre out of them three, you play the other two in the centre as false 9s, Kudus and Paqueta, who have both played false 9 in their career before. Kudus played false 9 for Ajax at Anfield in the Champions League, I'm pretty sure. And that's how he scored that amazing goal. Paqueta has played false 9 before, many a times. He even played it a couple of times in the Conference League for West Ham in the group stage. But to be fair, the football didn't really represent what that would look like. And I don't want to see Bowen in the centre where we've signed a striker already, and we've got Danny Ings and Antonio, who, yeah, and they're not the greatest options in terms of starters, but can still play a part in a squad. I know people are saying Ings over Antonio. I think Ings is strictly a 2-man thing. Like, I think Ings would be good to bring off the bench if you need to chase the game. Like, I didn't think he made a bad impact when he came off the bench against Aston Villa, because that was the only time we were actually creating chances when Ings and Fulcrook were actually playing together. Yes, Ings in a 10 wouldn't be bad either, but when we've got Paqueta and Kudus in our team, I don't want to play Ings in a 10. Now that we've got a striker, and yes, it's not the striker that everyone wanted, cool, whatever, but he's here now, so let's play him and give him a chance. I would rather him play than Bowen, because Bowen doesn't have the natural striker instinct and the natural striker movement. And that's nothing against Jared Bowen, it's just not his game. Same way I'm not going at Paqueta when he's playing off the left. Same way with Mohamed Kudus, I'm not really going to go at him if he's playing off the left, because as much as he's a winger, not every winger can play both sides. I'm sorry, but not every winger, like, you don't play Riyad Mahrez on the left. I'm not comparing Kudus to Riyad Mahrez, but you know what I mean. You're not playing Riyad Mahrez off the left. Like, you're not playing Mohamed Salah off the left, are you? Saka can play both sides, but he's really, really good on the right wing. And that you can say the same for Mohamed Kudus. It's just an example. I think with other combinations that, obviously I've discussed them two playing in false nine before, but them three as a front three, I never want to see again. Luckily, we won't see that again. And I get you've got to try and fit all these players together whilst keeping some form of balance. But there's going to be teams like Ipswich and Southampton and Leicester, Forest, where I'd still play Paqueta deeper. And to be honest, as long as Carlos Soler's not there, I would rather play Paqueta deeper than anyone else in our team, and just go for it. We need that energy from Somerville cutting in off the left, cutting in onto his right, and finding the goal, because he's got a finish on him, and he made a really good impact. The problem is, because I've got PTSD from the previous manager, I feel like we're going to see a similar thing where the guy, J-Lo, I don't like calling him J-Lo, but Lopetegui is going to be quite stubborn with the lineup against Crystal Palace. I don't want to look at my lineup again and then just see, fair enough, I hope to, like, Wan-Bissaka and Sadibo, it shouldn't even be a compensation. They should be put into side 11. But I don't want to see Souček, Rodriguez, Bowen, Paqueta, Kudus, Antonio as the midfield and attack. I'm not trying to see that. I don't want to see number 28 again. I don't want to see, just for this game, no disrespect to Antonio, I love Antonio, but I want to see Fulcrook. And people are going to say, oh, it's a shiny new toy and all that. When we sign a new player, I want to see them play. I don't want it to be like the previous manager where he signs the player and never plays them and doesn't give them a chance, and then we sell them for a cut fee. Simple as that. So that's just my opinion of the whole situation when it comes to Paqueta, Kudus, and Bowen. And my final thoughts is just Paqueta deeper, Kudus in the 10, and Bowen on the right. We technically play a 4-3-3 anyway, and I don't care. Kudus can play in an advanced 8 role anyway. It's not like these guys aren't good at tracking back or anything. Like, Kudus can win the ball. Kudus is very good at winning the ball out in the pitch. As long as you tell Paqueta to calm down a little bit, he can win the ball from deep, and he's not like he doesn't track back either. Paqueta definitely does track back. He likes doing the defensive work and the dog work. He actually had the most covered ground when we fucking signed him in Europe. But when we signed him, he had the most covered ground in Europe. I don't even use stats, but that just, and the thing is, the eye test proves it. The eye test has proven it. It's not like he's lazy or anything. He's not a luxury player. That's also what stupid neutrals used to say about Paqueta. Oh, he's creative, but does he do the tracking back? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. But anyway, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. Social medias are in the description if you want to follow me. The email for the Enquiries. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. If you can make that happen, that would be great. I'll see you guys later.